Hello and welcome to another Writerly Witterings, and I've just done the standard thing of not hitting the record button, so I've just been talking for 5 minutes and all to no purpose. This is a slightly odd one, not in terms of what I'm reviewing. That very nice man Drew sent me a bunch of cheap pens, because he said not everyone, and he's quite right, not everyone can afford a Visconti or a Conway Stewart, so it's worthwhile looking at what are the better value pens that don't cost anything like so much. And I've got a number of them here to have a look at. So just a quick review. This is going to be a quick one because this camera is being packed up today. I've bitten the bullet and decided I have to get a new one. So I'm recording this very quickly, then the camera's going to get posted off, and then when the new one arrives, I'll be recording in something completely different, which will be nice, hopefully. Unless, of course, it doesn't work, in which case that'll be a shame and embarrassing. So, pens, let's have a look. In case you're interested, this is what a mostly finished manuscript looks like. This is something I'll be going back to just as soon as I've finished talking to you here. So first of all, about these pens, let's have a quick look at them. Now, I'm going to start with the Zebra, because this is the cheapest. So, what can we say about it? It feels very cheap. Now, this is a disposable pen, push on, pull off cap. There's no way of unscrewing the front from the main barrel, the section from the barrel, but I am assured that if you're really careful you can pull the nib section out. It has a good feel to it. Doesn't feel too cheap and plasticky, to be honest. It does post quite happily. If I had anything to say that was against it from my perspective, it's just the fact that it's disposable. I don't like the thought of filling up landfills everywhere. It feels perfectly adequate. The clip is very squidgy. That feels like it would hop straight out of my shirt pocket without even thinking about it, which is not ideal. But then, looking at it, this Zebra costs £2.25. To be absolutely honest, it doesn't really matter if you lose it, does it? The nib is, I would say, a fine, although it's defined as a medium. It has no give whatsoever. There's no flexibility, but it is not an unpleasant nib to use. It does feel perfectly nice, and if you were out and about and you were looking for just a cheap pen that you could use for making notes while you're out, and it doesn't matter if you lose it, that would be a pretty good pen. Okay. The next pen to look at is the Pilot V pen. I would have to say this actually looks cheaper to me. It's got I thought that was squidgy. This is just, that's not going to do a thing. How does it look? It's not unattractive. It's got a big blue knob on the end. Doesn't really do anything for me. Big blue blob on the bottom. This plastic is, I don't know if they think it would look nice to have it slightly swirly. To me it just looks really, really cheap. Same as the Zebra, it's just a pull on, pull off. Fits on nicely if you like posting a pen. Now both of these are not standard refillables, although, as I said, I believe you can pull out the nib unit and fill it up with ink if you're so inclined. The colour that comes with this is slightly darker, might be better for some. The nib is not quite as smooth as the Zebra, which is odd because the Zebra is definitely finer. Both of these are supposed to be mediums, but I'd say the Pilot V pen is actually a medium. But I think you can probably hear it definitely has a bit more toothiness about it. Pilot medium it says. Whereas the Zebra is just that bit smoother. I don't know if you can see that, but it seems to have a larger blob on the end to make it write more smoothly. Whereas this, oh no, this is supposed to have a large blob too. But if you like to have the feel of writing, if you like the toothiness, why is that there? That shouldn't be there. Then possibly that is a better pen for you. I'm now going to zip over to the Platinum Preppy. Now this is a pen that's everybody's favourite. Helps when you've used it recently so that the ink doesn't dry up in the nib. I haven't used this for some months. In fact, it was last time I used this was before Christmas, so it's fair enough that it's not entirely happy about starting. If you get a pen that doesn't want to start, best approach is just squeeze the cartridge a little bit until you get the ink flowing through it. So apologies to Platinum. Now this is a Platinum Preppy, and it's lovely. I like these pens because I can take them out. They are cheap. These start at £4.15. You can get different versions which go up to about £5. But rather than the Pilot and the Zebra that have medium, and if you like medium you're fine, the Preppies come with a variety, so you can get 0.5mm to 0.3 and 0.2, or is it? Yeah, I think that's right, 0.03. This one is a 0.3, which they class as fine. Well, yes, I'd agree with that. It is pretty fine. But although it's fine, it writes superbly. Now, when you buy a Platinum Preppy, it will come with an ink cartridge in here, which will be the wrong way round so it doesn't get started. But there'll be an ink cartridge, you tap it, the ink cartridge comes out, you shove it on the end. This is not a Platinum ink cartridge. This is a standard international ink cartridge, because what you can do is buy a little doohickey that costs as much as the pen itself, which is a converter so that you can take any standard international cartridge. You don't have to. These pens work absolutely fine. With the Platinum standard cartridges. But it is worth noting that this pen is refillable. These two are not. So let's move on to another pen that is refillable. This is the Schneider. It's German made. It says made in Germany, there you go. It has a nice, that feels more robust again. I should say the Preppy has an adequate clip. Much better than the Pilot V pen, which is frankly useless. I'd say that the Schneider is very similar to the Zebra. it's quite nice. It comes in various colours. It's not just green, you can get orange and all sorts, which is nice. If you're looking for a pen that's going to be more comfortable, this is definitely one of that sort. It's got this nice green rubberized silicone type of grip, and it has mouldings in a triangular format, so it fits with your thumb on one side, finger on another flat, and then underneath there's a third flat. So it has a good feel to it. I believe it comes in medium only. That's what I'm assuming. And it comes with this interesting little fitment, so you can see that it does take international ink cartridges. I'm not sure there's any other purpose to this. There's nothing stuck in there, is there? Oh, there is. Ah, and here we have an ink cartridge. Let's see what it does. This may take a while to come through because I haven't used this before. And so I'll just squeeze a little bit of ink out to get it into the feed and onto the nib. That should have done it, hopefully. Let's just make sure with a bit of blotting paper. Nope, not coming through yet. This is one thing about international ink cartridges, they're fine in principle, but they do sometimes take a little bit of time to get started. Oh, that one started. And it's always a good idea when you're trying to load one to have some blotting paper or similar near to hand. Again, this is definitely a medium nib. Now, what else have I gleaned about these pens? Well, first of all, I've gleaned the prices. This is an Expect Vivaz pen, which comes in... Now, I've just checked the prices from Cult Pens because I tend to know Cult Pens and I know roughly how much they charge. So this is a medium nib Expect Vivaz, £3. The Pilot V pen is a fine nib, and these start at £4.50 to my astonishment. But it is a good pen. Let's not be too negative about it. The Zebra, however, is £2.25. If you're looking for a fine nibbed pen, that's a really good one. And the old wonderful Platinum Preppy is £4.15. So, what is my summary about these pens? Well, the first thing is they are all perfectly adequate functional pens. In terms of the feel, I would say I prefer... what are you going to use these for, is the first question. Now, if I'm just thinking about my normal use, sketching, lots of different hatchings, and the idea about drawing some buildings and other things while I'm out and about, or just trees, you know, could be any number of things. The Platinum Preppy has served me very well. I think they're fantastic pens. I love the fact that they're reliable. I love the nibs, they work really well. Everything about them is really good. The Pilot V pen is okay, but to be frank, for the money, compared to a Preppy or a Schneider or a Zebra, the V pen loses. I'm not happy with that. If I was looking just for cheap disposable, a pen that I can carry around and I don't care if I lose it, well, there is nothing gonna beat that. But for me it doesn't work, because every time I need to refill it, because I'm not going to muck about trying to pull the nib out, every time I want to refill it, it's going to cost me £2.25. Now, if I just go out and buy some handy sized international ink cartridges, they're going to be a great deal cheaper than that. So I would prefer a pen that will take standard ink cartridges, and that means I'm coming down to these two. And here there is, I mean, I cannot believe that this is so cheap. It's German made, it feels like really good quality. I love the feel of that click. If I'm going to be sitting down and writing for an extensive period, this is great. If I'm trying to get a pen for someone who isn't too sure they actually want to use a fountain pen, this is much more likely to get them to want to use it. I think that Schneider is absolutely superb. Is it the best of them? It is pretty much the best of them. I love my preppies. I don't like the fact that you have to spend £5 nearly to get the converter, so the preppy will be nearly £10 if you want to use standard international ink cartridges, which I would, because I've got loads of them knocking around. This is really, really good for me for sketching. I love it. It's great. But I have to admit, the hands down winner, as far as I'm concerned, for people who want to use a pen for writing, for people who want to advise someone else on a pen that would be nice to buy and to use, for something that feels as though it's, I don't know how it is, it feels much better quality than the really cheap acrylics you get on disposables. This is a very pleasant feeling pen. It's German made, so you can pretty much guarantee it's going to work, and it's the cheapest of the pens that you can refill. If you have to use 2 ink cartridges, it's going to work out cheaper. This will work out at £4.50. This will be £3 plus a little bit for an ink cartridge, which is pennies, not a pound. So this is going to work out cheaper very quickly. And it feels a great deal better. I mean, no. Better, but still no. There you go. I'm having to move now because this camera is still finding it difficult to focus, which is why it's going and I'm getting a new camera. Anyway, that was quite interesting to me. I wasn't expecting that. It does come down partly to price, obviously. But for a very cheap pen to buy, and let's not forget, it's £1.50 cheaper than this really rather grotty looking thing. £1.50 cheaper, that's significant. It is, what, 75p more expensive to buy than this disposable thing. Why? And then you've got the Preppy, which is a fabulous pen, and I wouldn't have anything bad to say about them, except that it's still £1.15 more expensive than this little Schneider. And for my money, it's the best looking of the 4 pens. The clip, I think, is probably as good as the best of them. And it feels a great deal more pleasant to use with that nice little triangulated section at the front. This is an ideal starter pen. I forgot to mention it does post nicely. But it also, because it's plastic or something, it's silky and smoothly slides on, but still doesn't feel as though it's going to fall off. Hands down, the winner. Now there's a strange thing. I was honestly expecting the Preppy would be the outright winner, but definitely not. So, hope that was interesting. Now, this is the last time I'll be recording with this poor old Sony RX100 IV or 4. It's been a good little camera. I'm going to miss it really, but I'm looking forward now to getting a new Fujica, which will be an X100V, which is hideously expensive, as all these things are now, but hopefully I'm not going to keep getting this little box appearing here while the camera is trying to focus on my face, because the Fuji will pick up my eyes and focus on them. That's rather good. I'm just hoping that the microphone's going to work as well as this one has. But that's all for now. This is the end of an era. I should just say that when I spoke to you last week, I said that I was suffering from a dreadful cold. No, I wasn't. I had COVID. But I only discovered that the day after making the recording. Still, it wasn't too bad. It's the standard thing. Felt like a bad cold, really bad sore throat, bit of a headache, but apart from that, I just felt tired all the time, which is what always happens to me when I get a cold, so that's nothing new. But it's gone now. I've had my second negative test this morning, so I've already been out for a walk with the dog, and now you're going to see a healthier looking Jex, which will be much better for you, obviously. So, if you wouldn't mind, please like it, because it has an impact on my income, and if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell button so you're notified about new videos coming out, and share it, and run down the street screaming, shaking your hands in the air, telling everybody how good it is. Don't do it naked though, it's not ideal. Thanks very much for watching, and speak to you soon. Bye.